The Headwaters Resource Conservation and Development Council presents the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. In partnership with the United States Department of Agriculture, Natural Resources Conservation Service, the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the Foundation for Pennsylvania Watersheds, the Pennsylvania Grazing Lands Coalition, Penn State College of Agricultural Sciences, Penn State Extension, and the Potter County Conservation District. Thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Mary Baker. I'm a forester with the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and we're here today on Brent Bacon's property to talk a little bit about forestry in NRCS. It's a 110-acre property. It's northern hardwoods, hemlock, beech, maple, some black cherry. Mr. Bacon had a forest management plan written for his property in 2009, and that's a great first step for any forest landowner. So a forester will write a forest management plan based on the landowner's goals. They do an inventory of the property, what kind of trees you have, the species, where they're growing at, the diameters, the height, the condition of the trees, if you have insect issues or health issues of the trees. Then they draw some maps. You'll have a map of the topography of your area. You'll have soil maps that tell you what's going on in the soil and why you have the trees you have because of that. They'll do a stand inventory where they break up the property depending on what tree species you have. So you might have a stand of hemlock trees, and that would be considered one stand. So the plan will also identify any wet areas you might have, water, streams. They'll look at special concerns. If you have a special area in your property, it could be an old cemetery, it might just be a place you like to sit and meditate. They'll identify all that and write the plan based on what you would like done on your property. There's a 10-year activity schedule that's included in the plan that gives you an idea of possible practices you could do every single year. It's a fluid document. If you do a timber stand manipulation for the overstory, then you do have to have an inventory, which a forester would need to do. And they look at what trees you have growing, what's coming in as new regeneration on the ground, and then they can give you some management guidelines based off of that inventory. So Mr. Bacon has goals for his property to improve the whole area for wildlife through herbaceous plantings, planting fruit trees, removing some of the diseased beech, addressing the beech brush that is here, and some of the fern control so that new trees can grow on the property. One of the practices that Mr. Bacon did was brush management through NRCS. As you can see here, the beech brush is very thick. It's a shade-tolerant species, so it grows well in the shade, and it spreads, which prevents other tree species from growing. And if you look on the forest floor, all you see is beech here. So the brush management was done through herbicide, using a herbicide track machine. We're standing in one of the tracks from the machine, and also a backpack sprayer. Another practice that Mr. Bacon did on his property was herbaceous weed management to control the ferns. This is a fern that was treated with herbicide. They like to grow in the light areas. There's a little opening here, so they spread, and they spread through rhizomes, and they get quite thick, and they prevent tree species from growing up through them. So this was treated with a herbicide. Another brush management treatment that was done on Mr. Bacon's property is hack and squirt. And what happens is they take a hatchet and do downward cuts into a tree, usually 2 inches long and 2 inches apart depending on the diameter of the tree. And it forms a little cup, and they can put herbicide into it, and then the tree will take that herbicide up. The treatment on the beech for hack and squirt is more effective from mid-July to when the leaves start to color in the fall. So this is an example of the frill cut on both sides here, and you cut into the sapwood, and then you apply the herbicide through it with a spray bottle to put the chemical into the cut. The cut should be approximately 2 inches apart, and with the hatchet, it's usually about a 2-inch cut. Another practice that Mr. Bacon was doing through NRCS was treating shrub establishment with the use of a deer exclosure fence. And the fence eventually will go to exclude the deer from this area to to help encourage other tree species to come in and to help regeneration. A fence is usually in place for 10 years. It needs checked periodically to see if any trees have fallen on it or after a storm.